Well, hello, Little Falls. It's Jess Jeffrey joining you for our latest episode of Historic New Jersey. And today we are coming to you from Acorn Hall here in Morristown, New Jersey. Today we are being joined by Katie Hakusa. She is one of the volunteer docents here at Acorn Hall. Katie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for coming here today.
So we're standing in the entrance hall of Acorn Hall. What can you tell us about this particular area?
Yeah, so this house was built in 1853, and back then it was just a 4-square house, simple 4 up, 4 down. 4 years after it was built, the Crane family from New York City purchased the house and lived here for 4 generations. And it was the Crane family who expanded the house to the Italianate Victorian style that you see today. So they added the dining wing, the extension, they added the tower that we're standing in now, and the front and back porches.
So, Katie, we are now here in the front parlor of Acorn Hall. Can you maybe tell us what in this room is original to the house?
Absolutely. So the furniture, this yellow upholstered furniture, rosewood furniture, is original to the house, actually purchased in 1853, and then was also sold with the house to the Crane family. The carpet is also original. The design of the carpet dates from 1851, when it was first shown at the Great Exhibition put on at the Crystal Palace in London by Prince Albert and Queen Victoria.
This particular carpet was shown at the Great Exhibition.
The design of it was.
Design.
And
Wow.
then they made more. They were made in Halifax, Yorkshire, England, by the Crowley and Sons Company, and then was probably imported to New York and purchased by the family and other purchasers from there. So this was more the formal reception room where the lady of the house typically would receive guests to chat, catch up on news, or to have some tea.
Fantastic. I can go for some tea.
Me too. So on the ceiling, we have an example of the trompe-l'oeil paint effect, which is a French term for to fool the eye. It is a flat painting technique, but made to look three-dimensional, to be more impressive to guests. It looks more expensive than it actually is. It's less expensive to do this than to get the expensive plaster molding on a ceiling or a wall. So this was a way to save money while also impressing your guests.
So I am a little biased, but I always appreciate when a home has a library, which is where we are now.
Yeah, so this is much more of a manly decor with the darker furnishings and wall coverings. But behind us is Augustus Crane's original Gothic bookcase that he did bring with him from New York City to Morristown. Augustus Crane put in his will that as long as the house remained in the family, that his library should remain intact. And because it did remain in the family until the Historical Society received it, it has remained intact.
So we know this is original. The books are original. What else in this fantastic room is original to the house?
So we have these 2 chairs. They're called Turkish chairs in the list of items that was sold with the house. So they came from the Schermerhorns and were purchased by the Cranes with the house. We also have this footstool, which is down here. You'll get that. This footstool with deer antlers. It's been faded, but there is AC embroidered on it for Augustus Crane.
That is so cool.
And then the family portraits are original as well.
So who do we have?
Yeah, so this is Benjamin Crane. This is Augustus Crane's father. And then on this wall across from us, we have the Hone family. We have John Hone I and his wife Johanna. They were a long-time Morristown family. The Hone family actually owned the land that Acorn Hall was built on. The Cranes also marry into the Hone family, so they become the Crane Hones in the 2nd generation.
So now we find ourselves in the dining room, which is absolutely fabulous. We have a fabulous table laid here. Please tell us more about what is on this table.
So the table is original, as are the chairs, original to the Crane family. You could add leaves to the table or take the one out to make it smaller, however much you need it for your dinner party. The china is not original to the house, but it is time period appropriate. It is Limoges. The silverware is Tiffany. But the napkins with the embroidered AC for Augustus Crane are original to the family.
And we also noticed when I had walked in, I was talking about some of this furniture around the room, also original to the family.
Yes, also original. The only thing not original in this room, furniture-wise, is the organ behind us. There was an organ in here originally, because what good dinner party is it without music?
Music, yeah.
But this particular one is a donation. We don't know what happened to the original.
So tell us a little bit more about this fabulous, fabulous woman on the wall.
So her name is Alice Castleman. She married Augustus Crane Hone. They are the third generation to inherit Acorn Hall. She was born in Louisville, Kentucky. She's kind of a Southern belle socialite type.
She looks it.
Yeah, she's beautiful, and that's her as an older woman. But when she and her husband Augustus Crane Hone inherited, they are the ones who modernized Acorn Hall. They had installed electricity, running water and plumbing, radiator heating, and they took the kitchens in the basement and moved them up to the first floor.
So, Katie, now we find ourselves in this fabulous music room here at Acorn Hall. We had discussed so many things prior to this camera being on. Can you please take us through some of the wonderful, wonderful pieces and this fabulous piano?
Yeah, so the furniture is original to the Castleman family, who Alice Castleman and her husband Augustus Crane Hone did inherit the house. They're the third generation to inherit, so it comes from her family in Kentucky. But we do have this original 1873 Chickering piano. This was a gift from Mr. and Mrs. Crane to their eldest daughter, Mary Ellen. She was very fond of music, so it was a gift to her to practice. It lived across the street in the house where she and her husband shared. It is a private residence, but they lived across the street with the piano. Unfortunately, Mary Ellen passed away at age 27 of typhoid, so the Cranes asked if they could have the piano back, and so we do have it. It is regularly tuned and played for our special events, especially at Christmas time, so we're really happy to have it. It makes a beautiful sound and adds the reason we call it the music room.
And Franz Liszt played on a Chickering piano.
He did. He kind of made it a little bit famous. He has a Chickering in his home in Hungary, and played it at Acorn Hall, which was a music hall in New York City that he also made a little bit famous.
Fabulous. And we also have some original photos of the family here.
We do. So the smaller portrait is Mary Ellen, who was gifted the piano in this room. She was the eldest of the Crane siblings, of the 4 siblings. And the larger photo is her sister, Julia, playing the piano, along with her husband, Dr. James Leonard Corning, who's on the flute. And behind them is the third Crane sibling, Augustus Jr.
So we are concluding our grand tour of Acorn Hall with this very grand piece of stained glass. Katie, please tell us more.
So this is the St. Cecilia stained glass window. This was purchased by Mr. and Mrs. Crane for their eldest daughter, Mary Ellen, when she, about 10 years after she passed away of typhoid. This was made by John Lafarge, probably completed by his assistant, John Johnston. But this lived at the Church of the Redeemer on South Street in Morristown, which was the family's church. It is still an active congregation today. And it came to us after a number of years after the church had a fire. We sent her away to be restored and conserved at a studio in Massachusetts. We got her back in September 2021, and now she lives here with us.
And why St. Cecilia?
St. Cecilia was the patron saint of music, and Mary was very fond of music, so that's why the Cranes chose her to represent Mary in this window.
This is an absolutely beautiful piece of art, an absolutely beautiful home, and I want to thank you so very much for giving us your time and this tour today, and we hope that everybody will continue to join us here on Historic New Jersey. Thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you.